This episode of the Sideline Views podcast is presented by GuyBostonSports. For day-to-day coverage on the Bruins, Pats, Sox, and Souths, visit GuyBostonSports.com. Alright, so today I am joined by my buddy Keem. Keem, what's up?
What's up?
Alright, and it's the 4th of July. It is 12:09 a.m. And already fireworks have sprung in the NBA. So let's get right into it. Boogie Cousins. Big move. A few days ago, it was announced that he signed a one-year deal for just $5.3 million. What's your reaction?
One of my favorite players, so I'm a little biased, but he's just great talent. Terrible choice. Makes sense for him, He wants to go down as one of the greatest of all time. He wants a championship. But, we did find out recently that the Lakers didn't offer him a deal.
That's true. That is the big thing that bugs me about Magic. He killed the offseason signing the biggest free agent, but yet he still screwed it up.
He did screw it up.
Still screwed it
up. It was embarrassing.
What do you think about the theory about Rajon Rondo possibly playing into Boogie's decision?
Rondo's one of my favorite
You think
players.
There's a possibility there?
There's definitely a possibility. I mean, they're both hotheads. I mean, Boogie seemed to get along well with Rudy Gay, and Rudy Gay's, he's a calm guy. So
That's true.
I don't know.
The way I see it, though, Rondo and Lonzo Ball are, in a sense, the same as far as, one-dimensional type players, unless Lonzo can develop a shot and prove me wrong. So wouldn't you rather sign Boogie Cousins and keep Lonzo opposed to just having those two guards and, putting Luke Walton in the position where he has to, get those two playing time and function them two together? Doesn't it make more sense to get Boogie in there?
I mean, definitely get Boogie in there, but, I think that's what the mystique of, Magic is. People think that he's some type of great person, great GM just because he was a great player, but, it doesn't seem to be so. He couldn't sign Boogie. I would have just locked him up just so another team didn't get him. Other teams didn't want him because they didn't want him in their locker room. So now you have this guy who joined the Golden State Warriors. Now they have 5 All-Stars in their starting lineup. I don't know if we've ever seen a team with 5 All-Stars in their starting lineup.
No, definitely not. And it's weird, the whole Boogie didn't get a whole lot of contract offers, but it's just the 4th of July. Give teams a chance at this. And I heard Boston was his second choice, which, yeah, we come short on free agents yet again, but I don't know. I think, in a sense, we could be overreacting, like Stephen A. said, but I don't think we are because of what it does for the future and how it opens doors for more free agents like Boogie to make decisions like this where they take massive pay cuts. You got Aaron Baines on the Celtics making more than Boogie. That's absurd. And it just opens a door for future free agents to look at that and replicate that type of decision in the future to go somewhere like Golden State where they just get a free ring. And as an NBA fan, that's a bad product for next year.
I mean, you still have stars like DeMar DeRozan, who Lakers fans tried to get to come to, the Lakers, and he said, hell nah. He doesn't want to come to the Lakers. He doesn't want to form a super team. You got other stars like Damian Lillard, who doesn't want to form a super team. But, what are the chances he ever wins by himself? It's I'm not saying he's not talented, but he just he's not that type of player. I don't think Steph Curry could do it alone, and, I don't think Damian Lillard could do it alone either. Maybe, KD, LeBron James, those type of caliber players. But, we still look at Kawhi Leonard, and he's possibly also going to join a super team, and I wouldn't be surprised. He's a winner. So he wants to win. DeMarcus Cousins, he's typically been a loser throughout his whole career. He wants to win.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to jump into. The difference between DeMarcus Cousins and KD. That's why I say the Boogie Cousins one bugs me more than KD a few years ago. KD was an MVP before he got to Golden State. KD had been to the finals before he got to Golden State. Boogie Cousins didn't do a damn thing in Sacramento, and it had to be AD to drag him. The New Orleans Pelicans went 23-8 without Boogie Cousins. So clearly they played better without him. They ran through Portland like it was nothing. They put up a pretty good fight against Golden State. So I don't know. It just sucks to see how he just abandons AD like that. After all that AD did. You see AD wearing his jersey at the All-Star game as symbolism for their brotherhood, and he just kind of abandons him right after that.
But we did see that after the Pelicans had offered Boogie, I think it was 2 years, $40 million or $20 million a year, and he declined it. They took the deal off the table, and they didn't offer him anything since. And he spoke about it. It was on social media. He said that they didn't offer him anything after that, so he moved on. And he said he was willing to sign a similar deal with the Lakers, but they were scared that he wouldn't be able to rehab his injury as fast as they wanted. So, I mean, can we really blame the guy?
I still do. I mean, I don't think it's an overreaction because when it comes time to meaningful basketball for Golden State, he's going to be there. You're going to have him when you need him. And you saw, this past playoff series that physicality was a challenge for Golden State.
Yeah, they're soft.
And you're getting the most powerful big there is in the league today. So I don't know how you compete with that. Especially if you're Boston right now and you're the projected team to take on Golden State in the finals, I don't know.
I mean, you get rid of a terrible player in JaVale McGee, crazy potential, but just obviously
that move I didn't understand. I didn't understand that one either. I didn't understand that one by Magic. The Lance Stevenson one made more sense to me by far to get him off that bench in a second unit, but the JaVale McGee, it just seemed like you're getting yourself LeBron's Lakers version of J.R. Smith.
Yeah. Magic already messed up with the Mozgov, whatever he was trying to do there. So, he hasn't had any
$110 million for Timofey Mozgov.
Yeah, I don't even know if he's still on the Lakers. I don't follow him. He doesn't really do much. Useless. He's just on it's like a Joakim Noah.
That's I heard. I think he got traded from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Or cut by Brooklyn, something like that. I don't follow that guy.
I don't know if it was guaranteed. I don't know how much he's still making. But, terrible move. Magic Johnson, he'll still get credit for what he's doing now, even though we don't know how much he actually did to get LeBron James here. But he'll still get the credit of bringing LeBron James in.
I think in that scenario, especially in the LeBron versus any other player, I'm pretty sure LeBron knew what he was going to do. He had his decision in mind. I think we were already hearing about his son is committed to a high school there, so I'm pretty sure family was like the prime factor in this decision being made. And I mean, it's not a bad team to go to. They've got good young talent. And if you were able to recruit Boogie or get Kawhi alone, you can definitely give Golden State a run for their money. Already Kawhi and LeBron, that's a much more dominant team, physically wise speaking, versus Golden State. And if you were to add Boogie in that mix, that's going to be a bigger challenge than Houston was able to give them. And Houston got to them physically. Chris Paul versus Stephen Curry was looking like a mismatch at times.
Yeah, Stephen Curry's he's not always been the strongest guy. He's real.
No, not at all.
Weak guy. Very, very quick. Great handles, crazy shot. But I don't know how many times Chris Paul put him on the floor. Just like KD, he's not the quickest guy. He's not the strongest guy. But he's real sneaky. He has sneaky handles you wouldn't expect from someone his size, and everyone knows about his jump shot.
Mm-hmm. And if you're Golden State too, the thing that bugs me that people are like, "Oh, it's an overreaction. Boogie's hurt. He might not be the same." He doesn't need to do a whole lot. That's the thing.
Man can
he just
shoot
needs
threes.
He needs to do that that. Even if he doesn't, if he just serves the same purpose of what Aaron Baines does for the Celtics, that just physical presence inside. And he lets everyone else do the work, that's all he needs to do, and they're set. That team is set if he just does that. So I don't get why people are saying this isn't over. No, this isn't an overreaction.
Yeah, a lot of people...
This isn't an overreaction at all.
If you understand ball, then you know that now, if we even subtract Draymond Green and, his horrendous three-point shooting, you still have 4 out of 5 of the guys are able to shoot threes, and they're able to shoot threes very well.
Yeah, and Draymond he's capable of knocking them down. So you can say essentially that everyone in that starting 5 can shoot 3.
Yes.
That where else? Name me another team where you see that.
I mean, damn well JaVale McGee, he's not shooting threes. We know that.
Definitely not. That's what I don't get. It's not an overreaction at all.
No, they have a team that I don't even know if we've ever seen assembled, in the history of the NBA.
No. definitely not.
And it's going to go down in the annals of history. It's going to go down. People are going to remember this team, for better or for worse.
It just scares me for what players in the future are going to do. And if they're going to, model this type of decision and replicate it.
But, you also have fans that say this is a GM's job. A GM is supposed to get players. So what is wrong when a GM gets players? This is what a GM does.
I think in this case we have, reports that it was Draymond that called Boogie. Just like, and the thing is, Draymond must be the greatest recruiting player in the history of sports. Like, this man needs to go to college and, assemble his own team, get all the top recruits. Once he's done with basketball, he's got to be one hell of a GM.
I mean, he's a terrible guy to play against. He's the type of guy you play against, you just want to punch him in his face. But, as a teammate...
Props to Draymond. Oh, yeah. Jesus Christ.
As a teammate, he gets everybody.
They need to make, a GM of the Year award and just swing that over to his way.
I mean, you got...
KD and Boogie Cousins. How do you pull that off?
Yeah, you got KD, who doesn't really like confrontation. He pretends up there when he's talking. He's acts like a big, tough guy. But, he's not going to meet anybody outside. He's not fighting anybody, but you got Boogie.
Yeah, Draymond was the only physical option that team had. They are a slim team.
Exactly. So now you got
all the way around. You got him and you got Iguodala, who's aging, so you can't really ask him to come into that role.
Exactly. But now you got Boogie and you got Draymond Green. You got two combustible attitudes. You got Draymond Green, who said he's not willing to play with LeBron James. He said if LeBron James came to the team, then there's a high possibility he would not be there next year. So how is it possible that he's able to play with DeMarcus Cousins but not LeBron James? What is wrong with playing with LeBron James if you're Draymond Green?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there is the whole thing with, if you play with LeBron like we saw with Kevin Love, you're kind of limited in your game-wise, but I feel like with a big like Boogie, you're not.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're still going to be able to get to do what you do.
I think what the problem is, Draymond Green and LeBron, every single time they went to the finals, there's always been some type of physical confrontation. Mm-hmm. So there's always been,
Yeah, so imagine how gassed each and every one of those guys are going to be when they got Boogie on the floor, come around summertime next year.
Yeah, and, GMs were scared he wouldn't even be ready by then.
Yeah, I kind of get that, but you still know the player that you're going to get. That's the thing that confuses me.
I mean, but we could have said the same thing about Isaiah Thomas and the hip injury.
Yeah, but with Isaiah Thomas, it's a guy who's limited, who's a liability to begin with,
But you could also say that, DeMarcus Cousins, his attitude is a liability.
No, it is, but I think there's a much higher chance at DeMarcus coming back and being the same guy than Isaiah Thomas. And Isaiah Thomas, we kind of saw it, firsthand how sloppy he was in Cleveland and in LA. Turnovers were skyrocketing for him.
I think his confidence at that time was at an all-time low. I think that's why.
Yeah, there was definitely a mental factor that played into it. I agree with that.
Yeah, he didn't want to get traded by Boston. He got traded by Boston. You saw it all in his documentary. He didn't want to get
traded by Cleveland. He got traded by Cleveland. Then you go to LA, and you're not playing any meaningful basketball at all. It's La La Land down there, so you can do whatever the hell you want.
Exactly. You got him throwing up shot after shot, losing games. It was really the Isaiah Thomas show over there, and it had terrible ratings. He had nothing going for him there.
I hate to blame it on him, but, there was kind of, a little he did it to himself with the whole back up the trucks, I'm a max guy.
Oh, yeah.
I loved Isaiah Thomas. I loved everything about him. He was the heart and soul of the Boston Celtics when he was here.
He's not a max deal player.
But he's one of the guys that makes basketball fun to watch. But if you're Danny Ainge, it's... you can't give that guy $100+ million
No, you give him like an Evan Turner type deal, something like that.
Yeah, that's just it. And we've seen in basketball, especially that loyalty from the player side, from the GM side, it's really meaningless.
Mm-hmm.
It's sports. So sports is just a business. When you have the chance to get the best point guard in the Eastern Conference, the best basketball handles of our generation, you don't turn that down. A guy who's also younger than Isaiah Thomas.
And he can do... I mean, he's a skinny guy, but he's persistent on defense. He's not as short as
anybody. But you know, when you're Danny Ainge and you know who you're going to go up against, the Golden State Warriors, Kyrie Irving has performed, you know, at that stage against that team in the big moments. So you can't pass that up.
I mean, but we've seen Isaiah Thomas against Golden State Warriors, and he's played exceptionally well.
Yeah, but you know, if you're going to give max money to one of those two guys, which one's it going to be?
You know, I guess you're right. You're going to have to take Kyrie. You're going to have to. He's a better player. He's going to go down as a better player than Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas, not saying he's not going to go down as, you know, a great player. We don't even know if he'll be a Hall of Famer. We know Kyrie Irving will, though.
Mm-hmm. But what do you think about the reports of him in Orlando? I think that's a good fit for him personally.
We don't even know when Orlando will be able to, you know, make it to a finals.
Yeah, from a competing perspective, but that team does need a guard.
They do need a guard. I mean, right now they look like they're relying on Aaron Gordon to do anything.
They got Aaron Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
They have Vucevic as their center. Then they have Evan Fournier. So they've got some pretty big guys in there.
Yeah, but Fournier, you know, he's been up and down, really inconsistent.
No, he is. But, you know, I think that's where Isaiah Thomas's offense sort of comes into play. Where he's going to get, you know, he's going to help spread that floor. He's going to get open shots. That's why I thought, you know, going in the draft night that Trae Young was pretty good for that team. That team needs a good, you know, a 3-point a point guard who can shoot.
I mean, I'd say it's a perfect fit just because they don't care what happens. We've seen from the Summer League just how bad of a start Trae Young can get off to.
I saw him tonight, actually, against San Antonio in a Summer League game, and it was looking rough for him.
Yeah, think about it. The level of physicality.
The physical factor is legit.
Yeah.
That's a legit concern for him.
And those are Summer League players. Summer League players, not your best starting five.
Yeah, exactly. Those are
on
guys
every
that
respected team.
You don't know where the hell they're going to be
exactly.
a week from now.
Exactly. Summer League players, you know, they could be one and done. We don't know where they're going. But when you're playing against the likes of LeBron James, even Steph Curry, you could put a hurting on Trae Young.
Yeah.
Like Russell Westbrook. When will Trae Young be able to go up against a Russell Westbrook caliber player? It's not going to happen. Even Patrick Beverly.
Oh, yeah, that's easy. That's cookies for Westbrook.
He might get it worse than Lonzo Ball when Lonzo Ball came into the league. We had people going out to get him. I'm not saying people are going to go out to get Trae Young.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to target him as hard.
But he's like...
But, you know, he can't sustain, you know, what Lonzo Ball can sustain
not.
On like a night-to-night basis.
Just like, you know, an arm extension, you know, just warding a player off with your arm, you know. That could send Trae Young flying. We don't know what his bench press is, 120.
Shooting-wise, too, something people don't get, like, he was a very streaky shooter at Oklahoma.
Oh, very.
Those were shots that, like, in the NBA, you're not taking those shots.
I mean, Steph Curry could take those shots, but Trae Young...
Yeah, because Steph Curry has proven he can knock those down.
Trae Young, they let him get away with a lot of stuff. We saw when what's his name? A guy from Alabama just got Colin Sexton. When we saw Colin Sexton, when we saw him play against Trae Young, oh my God, Trae Young couldn't take it. That level of constant physicality, it didn't allow him to perform as well as he typically would.
There was what I like to call the John Elway effect, where he had a comeback. You know, night after. There were several nights that you can point out where it was like first half was absolute garbage, and then he had to come back just to make himself look good.
Oh yeah.
And in the NBA, that's just not.
Oh yeah, he had the garbage. You
can't do that.
He had the garbage.
Maybe you can do that in Atlanta, which I think that it's a blessing on both sides. You can do it in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no one's gonna care.
I mean,
you guys aren't gonna play a meaningful second of basketball for years to come.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I just hype-wise, and the fact that he went so high.
Yeah, the up-and-coming star of Atlanta is Taurean Prince. And if I ask anyone walking down the street who the hell Taurean Prince is...
That's the guy who went to Baylor, right?
Exactly. Yeah. People could tell you they don't know who the hell Taurean Prince is. Like it's either Taurean Prince or Kent Bazemore. And we know how streaky Kent Bazemore is.
Yeah.
You know him more from Twitter than you do from basketball. So, you know... You don't know what you get.
No, definitely.
It's going to be rough.
Pretty ironic he got selected by the Hawks, but he has, like, a fear of birds. I don't know if you read that.
Who, Trae?
Yeah, he's, like, genuinely scared of birds or hawks. So, That's incredibly ironic that you're going to be rocking one on your chest every night.
I mean, I don't know how long he'll be rocking it for. He might not. We don't know how long he'll see the floor for. You really want to get the guy minutes, but I mean, I think he's going to be in an Isaiah Thomas-like situation because Isaiah Thomas is a lot stronger than Trae Young. He might be shorter.
Yeah, exactly.
He's stronger.
And we see, how physically, especially in recent years, most notably, how much of a beating Isaiah Thomas's body has taken.
Exactly. He's smaller but stronger, and
so just take away another 50 pounds of muscle.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and you got Trae Young.
But I don't mean to beat up on him. I'm just upset about the whole Porter situation and how he fell so low.
Porter, he's a skinny guy too. The only difference is he can put on muscle, and it's not going to be like, wow, look at this guy. Only thing he does is he hits the gym you saw the recent transformation of Mike Bibby. You don't want him looking like that.
Jesus Christ, that guy might go to football tryouts sometime soon. That dude's jacked.
Exactly.
For what,
exactly.
too? What is he all jacked for?
Exactly. It's like Tim Tebow, being a quarterback, and he got pipes on his arms.
Yeah, especially from a retired player's standpoint, don't you just, isn't that the time where you just relax, you sit back, you eat a bunch of food, junk food, drink beer, smoke cigars, and then you just, put on a gut that you're not going to lose?
Exactly. We saw that with Kobe, but not with Mike Bibby. He's still here. He's still playing.
Jesus Christ.
He's still here. He's still ready to perform.
Yeah, Mike Bibby had that body when he was in the league. Good Lord.
Exactly. I mean, he was
trucking through guards left and right.
He was getting pushed around, but now he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get my shot better."
Yeah, I genuinely didn't recognize him when he put that picture up on Instagram.
Oh my God, it looked like he lived at the gym. The only thing he ate was creatine.
That was amazing. He recently made the Instagram. I followed him A because I love Mike Bibby, and B because I think he has some of the greatest Jordan PEs of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just see that random picture pop up on my feed, and I'm like, "Who the hell is this?"
He's a musclehead now. That's all you can say. The guy
can't recognize him.
All he does is hit the gym and shoot. That's all. He wants to keep his shot, so when he goes around his nephew, he'll be like, "Hey, look at me! I can hit 23s in a row. It's nothing." But what do you think?
So let's dive.
I was gonna ask.
What were you saying?
I was gonna ask you, what do you think about Dwight Howard being bounced around from team to team?
He does it to himself. We saw, the thing that peed me off about Dwight Howard and completely changed the way I look at him, because he was one of the most, he was, again, the same thing I say about Curry, same thing I say about Isaiah Thomas. Dwight Howard was one of those guys in Orlando who made basketball fun to watch. You saw it in the dunk contest with the whole Superman thing, him and Nate Robinson. And then he goes to LA with Steve Nash and Kobe Bryant. He just turns into a complete asshole. Mm-hmm. That's the thing that bugged me about it. The whole situation with him and Kobe over there, and his career seemed to have gone downhill from there on. Where did he play after that? He went Houston, Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
Houston was probably his last really good year.
Yeah, that was the last time he was an All-Star. Last time he was an All-Star.
Charlotte, guy getting released by Brooklyn.
Yep.
Getting signed by the Wizards. I mean, it's the Washington Wizards.
Yeah, people forget Dwight was an 8-time All-Star. He was a man with a path laid out.
He was a top tier perennial All-Star, especially after Orlando. But he's just such an a-hole.
I mean, did you see the video of him? I forgot where it was on, but there was a video of him. It was a sports network. He was crying, he got teary-eyed when talking about his journey. I forgot what team it was on. Maybe it was his venture with the Lakers. He got teary-eyed about it, and it was wow, it really humanized the guy, because you only really see one side of the picture. You got people like Kobe saying, wow, the guy's lazy, he has no work ethic, he's soft. You got Kobe trying to fight him, when he met him, when he was on the Rockets. But what can you do there? Dwight Howard, people always say negative things about Dwight Howard. You got reports saying that, wow, in the Houston, with his venture with Houston, that the locker room was split in half. That you had people saying either you liked him or you didn't like him. You were a Harden guy or you were a Howard guy, and people just didn't like Howard. They didn't like him. He went from Superman to nobody ever saying that nickname. If you say who's Superman now in the NBA, people are they're more likely to say LeBron James than they are Dwight Howard. No one knows that Dwight Howard was Superman. They don't know that he won a dunk contest back in the day. They don't know he was an 8-time All-Star.
The big issue with him is I think he's kind of shied away from the spotlight as far as playing meaningful basketball. You go to Charlotte, you know for a fact you're not going to play a lick of meaningful basketball. People even forget he was in Charlotte to begin with. And the thing, he's built such a negative reputation. And the thing with me is I don't think he cares. I don't think he cares to fix it. That's the thing that bugs me.
I don't think he cares about
How old
basketball.
is he right now?
He's a young guy. He's still young. He has a couple years. I don't even know if he's 30.
Let me see how old he is. Dwight Howard is, he's 32.
32, wow. Still has a couple years left in him.
32. That's the big issue with me is I genuinely do not believe he cares.
Mm-hmm. You had people like Kareem Abdul.
That's the thing that bugs me.
Yeah, you had people like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the #1 leading scorer in the NBA, saying that the man just didn't care about basketball. So like, what can you really do if you have a guy who
he's put in recent years, he's put productive seasons together, but you gotta understand when you put those years together in places like Charlotte, nobody cares.
Oh yeah,
that's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it doesn't matter.
Exactly,
it's meaningless.
It's the same exact reason why Kemba Walker doesn't get the same.
Exactly, that's just where I was gonna go with it. That's why people underrate guys like Kemba Walker. That's why people underrate guys like Damian Lillard. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter.
Exactly, when you're like obviously one of the best players on the team, and everyone else just throws you the ball to huck it up. It's like, wow, what are you really doing?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But.
Oh, what were you going to say?
No, go ahead.
I was saying, but speaking of teams that will be playing meaningful basketball, what do you think the East is going to look like next year?
I think we're going back to a Boston Celtics era, a dynasty. The same way LeBron...
I forgot who it was. I think it was Skip who said they're going to take over... Or no, I think it was Charles Barkley, actually, who said they're going to take over the East for the next 10-plus years.
Wow, Charles Barkley gave the Celtics credit.
He gave the Celtics credit.
You never expect that.
As unbelievable as that is to believe, he gave the Celtics credit.
That's something else. You could have never guessed that. Charles Barkley,
no, absolutely not.
At every opportunity, he takes a swipe at the Celtics.
Oh, my gosh. But, yeah, back to the Celtics.
Jimmy Butler.
I mean, yeah, we can dive into that. Why not? I think it was reported by, Lord knows who it was, that Kyrie Irving and Jimmy Butler want to play together in the East.
The question is, how would they make it work? Is he a restricted free agent or is he unrestricted?
Isn't he a free agent right now? Right. He did say he doesn't want to play in Minnesota, which I don't blame him for.
But I don't know if that's him saying, "Hey, I want to be traded," or like, "Oh, I can sign wherever I want. I'm going where I want."
No, I'm pretty sure he is a free agent. But could you see the situation? See, because here's a situation. You're obviously going to need to trade something meaningful for him. Would you trade, if you're the Boston Celtics right now, Jaylen Brown?
They said they weren't willing to give up the top 5, and that was for Kawhi. And Kawhi is, he's a tier above Jimmy Butler in offense and defense. So
that's true.
What would they be willing to give up for Jimmy Butler? In
this scenario, the way I see it, because I wouldn't trade Jaylen Brown for Kawhi Leonard right now either. The guy's he's a lottery ticket. And I don't take chances with lottery tickets when you're trading something that is going to be productive for years to come.
I wouldn't trade the
young
guys.
In the scenario of like a Brown, maybe Rozier along with him, trade for Jimmy Butler, you like say Kyrie gives you like the heads up, like yeah, I'll stay here if you get Jimmy Butler here. If you're the Celtics, you need to do that.
But who exactly are you willing to let go? Because like I said, if they're not willing to give up the top 5 for Kawhi, and I know you say he's a wild card, but no one can question, what exactly, what you're getting with Kawhi.
No, yeah, I get it from that perspective, but I can't. I don't trust anybody anymore.
Okay.
That's why I'm buying into the Butler thing, because you can argue, well, it's just a report. You don't know how him and Kyrie actually feel. it's come to the point in the NBA where I got to buy into these reports.
Yeah.
Like, I got to buy into the fact that Kawhi's going to leave me next year and he's going to go sign with LA and go play for them.
Yeah, it all comes true. All of these reports come true.
Although there is a chance that, because Boston isn't like any other city. I'm not trying to sound cocky. This is a place where, the fans, Danny Ainge, the Celtics culture, you can buy into it and they can change your mind. But when you're giving up an asset like a Jaylen Brown, whose ceiling is just incredibly high at this point, I'm just unwilling to do it.
I don't think we'll give up Jaylen Brown. I don't see us giving up Jaylen Brown, Tatum, any of those guys. We could give up Terry Rozier. That won't really matter. We could give up Terry. I mean, hell, if they want Yabusele, we could throw him.
Big advocate for trading Terry Rozier at this point.
Yeah, Scary Terry, the mystique that is Scary Terry, whatever he did.
Anything but scary. Anything.
Yeah.
That shooting percentage was terrifying.
Exactly, especially in
it was horrid.
That last game.
Scary is an understatement.
Nothing scary about that.
Scary 0 for 10, that's what you call him now.
Yep. Nothing horrifying about that. I mean, except for the percentage.
And I'm not trying to, because he did obviously break my heart. He put me in the position where I was on the verge of watching the Celtics in the finals and, beating LeBron, dethroning him in the East, but he took that away from me single-handedly. But I do think he can be a productive guard, and I do think he's good enough to be a starting guard in the league. I think, what we got from him in the playoff run is just a little taste of what he can do. And obviously, if you trade him away somewhere else, he's going to get more shot opportunities. He's going to be able to run the floor a little more. So I do think he can be a starting guard somewhere else.
I mean, I definitely call his IQ, his basketball IQ into question. Especially during the Eastern Conference Finals, you saw a ton of times where timeouts were called specifically because Terry Rozier made terrible defensive plays.
I think he just bought into his own. I think he was just a little too hyped because there were a lot of bad shots he put up.
Oh, even Brad Stevens said that what stops Terry Rozier from being a starter, if we don't count in, Kyrie Irving being the leagues ahead of him, is, just the dumb mistakes he makes. Obviously, he didn't say it like that. Brad Stevens has more class. He's a classy guy.
Just essentially speaking.
But yeah, he basically said that the reason Terry doesn't play as much as he should is because he makes simple mistakes.
Yeah, the shot selection to the attempting to dunk on LeBron. That's just I think this is just a learning experience. Hopefully you don't attempt to dunk on LeBron when you weigh 150 pounds soaking wet ever again.
I mean, Jason Tatum, he did it just fine.
Yeah, Jason Tatum's bigger than Terry Rozier. And Tatum, has the ability, as he's shown us, to do that.
Yeah.
I think if Terry Rozier tried that 100 times, he's not getting one off. He's not grabbing that rim.
And the worst part about the dunk attempt was, don't get me wrong, I watched the play, tons of times. He got hit on his arm, on his hand a little, but he over exaggerated.
But when you're doing that against LeBron, a top player in the league, you're not going to get that call.
Yeah,
You should know that going in. You're not going to get that call.
Yeah, just get back on D. Don't look at the ref because LeBron's
You have Al Horford right there. Just hand the ball off.
And, like I said, that's what keeps him from seeing the floor sometimes. Just simple mistakes like that. You want to be flashy. We know Boston, great fans. I've been in the atmosphere when I'm down there watching the games. Super loud, great, but just make the simple play.
I think it's just growing pains. I think he'll hopefully learn from that mistake. But, like I said, I do think elsewhere he is good enough to be a starting point guard in the league.
Yeah, just not in Boston.
I don't know.
So
yeah, that thing bugged me a lot, during the playoffs when he's on this run, and everyone's like, "Well, we don't need Kyrie. We got this guy."
Yeah, that was just awful.
Are you kidding me?
That was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
Are you kidding me?
That's Terry Rozier.
That's the thing that kills me about Boston fans, is that they can be some of the best, but they can also be some of the dumbest at times.
Oh, my God. When Kyrie came into the league, you saw what Kyrie was about. He had unlimited potential for offense. You saw it from the beginning. How many 40-point games does Kyrie have? How many 50-point games does Kyrie have? And then look at someone like Terry Rozier. Like, come on. I understand Boston. If you could get rid of Kyrie, get someone else.
If Terry Rozier is my starting point guard next year, I'm headed to the TD Garden with pitchforks and torches.
Yeah,
I'm aiming for Danny Ainge at that point.
Yeah, that's just not what you want. Now, on the other hand, what do you feel about them if they could possibly get rid of Gordon Hayward to acquire Jimmy Butler?
I don't think you can do that exactly. I think, and here's why. I think Jimmy Butler's a better defender than Hayward.
Mm-hmm.
I'm obviously biased. Hayward's my favorite player in the league.
Mm-hmm.
I think Hayward's a better fit, and the big issue if you trade Gordon Hayward is what it does for future free agents coming to Boston. I think it just makes the team really look bad. You know, the fact that the guy only played 5 minutes for you. He left Utah, took a lot of heat for it. To come to you and to trade him away, I just think it puts Boston in a bad position. And Boston is a team that, in recent years, has struggled to get free agents here. Prior to Gordon Hayward, Al Horford was our biggest free agent signing that I can remember. So I think it just puts us in a bad situation. I think you can get them on the floor together. But that's the thing. It's going to cost you trading one of your young guys, because one of your young guys isn't going to get to develop. He's not going to get the playing time that he's going to need in order to develop. And I think if it's between Tatum and Brown, I think Brown has to be the one that you trade. I think Tatum just has too much versatility, offensively. He's got too much versatility and upside to him. He can give you more. But it's kind of a pick your poison type of thing, because I love the two of them, and I wouldn't want to see either one go. And, credit to Brad Stevens. When Jaylen Brown came into the league, everyone was bashing on him how he can't shoot the three. He was one of Boston's best three-point shooters last year. He was the third best three-point shooter. From the corner, that guy was deadly. So, I just think Jason Tatum can do more offensively. Contested shots, the dude was... It was incredible. He shot 51% for the first half of the season, which was leading all rookies by far. I think Brown is more flashy with the dunks and whatnot, but I think Jason Tatum can give you more, and he can do more. I think he can create more shots for himself, hit very tough contested shots. But it's going to be interesting to see. I think Danny Ainge is definitely gonna look into the Jimmy Butler situation.
If I was Ainge, if I had to choose between the two, I'm taking Brown, just because I'm not disagreeing. Tatum is better offensively. He can create his own shot. When you see Jaylen Brown do it, he might dribble the ball off his foot or something dumb might happen. Whereas Tatum, step back is cash. But Brown also is a lockdown defender. You can't say the same thing about Tatum. He had the toughest time guarding LeBron James. And don't get me wrong, that's the best player in the world, so why wouldn't he? But Brown didn't seem to have the type of struggles that Tatum did with him. On another note, what do you feel about Al Horford moving to I don't think he's a center. I think he plays more like a power forward.
No, it's just, when you Google his name, that's just what pops up.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
Rebounding wise, the guy's a statue. Those are concrete feet, and they're not getting up on the ground. It's weird, because you can see like an alley-oop play where he goes just soaring in the air, but then on the other end to grab a board, he's just getting bullied by guys like Robin Lopez and stuff like that. It's very confusing how he's like one player on one side and then totally another player on the end. Defensively, he was shut down last year.
Mm-hmm.
Shut down. But rebounding-wise has been a struggle for not just him, but the Celtics in general.
He just seems very shy to go and get the rebound. Seems like he has absolutely no ambition to get there. He wants no business rebounding the ball.
Whatsoever.
But I felt that if we could have, we should have tried to get a center. That's what I was thinking. I think we needed a center, a dominant center at that, someone like a Hassan Whiteside. That's what I felt.
Yeah, that's someone that I've been saying for years now, that I don't think it would take a whole lot to get him.
No, I think people down
at least it shouldn't. It shouldn't take a whole lot to get Hassan Whiteside here.
Yeah, we hear a lot of rumors about him. They seem fed up with him down in Miami.
Yeah, Miami has no future for the next... Oh, Lord, it's looking ugly for them.
Yeah, I'm saying people are saying that their best player is Goran Dragic, not Dwayne Wade, Goran Dragic, and that's saying a lot.
Yeah, Dragic did not he did not deserve, All-Star recognition. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah,
last year.
I don't know how he got onto it, but I wanted to ask you. We talked about Jimmy Butler leaving, but we didn't talk about why he left. What do you feel about? Well, how do you feel about why he left exactly? Being Cat and Andrew Wiggins.
I think, it's the same sort of situation that you had with Terry Rozier here, where there's a lot of growing pains over there in Minnesota. I don't know. Like, going into the season, you saw that team as, like, one of the teams to beat in the West. One team that could potentially, like, go at Golden State. But, yeah, those young guys just didn't show up. And according to Butler, like, maturity-wise, I guess it didn't bother them as much that they didn't show up and that the team, didn't live up to their expectations. Because that's a team that should make a deep playoff run.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. You saw people like Jamal Crawford getting frustrated. And he rarely ever gets frustrated. And you could visibly see that Andrew Wiggins was upset during the playoffs. Don't get me wrong. We saw Karl Anthony Towns. He made ugly faces when he was getting pushed around in the post. And, that made us question, his mentality. How tough is he? And I don't think he's very tough. But when you see certain people like Jamal Crawford getting mad, who really doesn't really show, he doesn't really show his emotions, but you saw him showing it, then it's bad. It's bad down there. Andrew Wiggins getting mad when he doesn't get the ball, when Jimmy Butler takes a shot, his face changes, saying he wants the ball more. But what exactly can he do with that?
I mean, granted, you had to face the toughest team at the West, the number 1 seed, Houston Rockets, but they got absolutely melted in that series.
They didn't do much. They
got outplayed.
They didn't do much. They definitely didn't do much. It wasn't something you saw and you were like, wow, these guys, they're really trying. If they don't win this year, they're going to be back next year and they're going to be contenders.
They kept it close for like 2 games, and the others were like damn near an average of 20-point blowouts after that. It was bad. It
was honestly disgusting because it was like similar to what you see.
That team has so much talent. That's the thing. That team has so much talent.
Definitely. But it's what you see in high school ball. It's really like, hey, we have a dominant player. Let's force feed him the ball and see what happens. And they tried to do that with Karl Anthony Towns, and it wasn't working. It wasn't working. It almost made you call in a question, Thibodeau's coaching. Like, how well was he really coaching the guy? Because this guy, clearly he didn't want anything to do with the ball.
Yeah, I thought he was like, the final piece to the puzzle for a contending team. Because he coached Jimmy Butler in Chicago really well back when they had, Joakim Noah, the D Rose days.
Mm-hmm.
But Jesus Christ, that team was bad.
Oh my! Karl didn't want anything to do with the ball. I don't know why they would keep giving him the ball. He was struggling. Clint Capella was bullying him. He was, after he could have went 0 for 5, and then when he made one shot, he was pounding his chest as if he actually did something. It was awful. The
3-point shooting killed me. They finished 19th among all NBA teams in 3-point shooting percentage.
I mean, you still have people like Karl Anthony Towns trying to throw up threes during, like, why is he trying to hit threes? He can't even get his low post game started. So is he trying to work from the outside in? Like, what is he trying to do?
But I don't know. I don't know how that team doesn't click. I don't know if it's just the lack of experience or whatnot, but you got guys like Butler and Crawford who have been there. I don't know if maybe Cat didn't buy into it or what. I don't know what the hell the situation was. But yeah, if I'm Butler, I'm bouncing too.
Oh yeah, I want to win at that point. He's looking to win, but he doesn't want to form
Obviously,
a super
you have
team.
a good team that can possibly, but you're taking a chance if you're committing there.
Oh,
they showed
100%.
no sign whatsoever.
I think if I was anyone on that team who had any sort of skill and I wanted to win, that is the last place I'm staying.
You're out.
Yeah. Oh my God. If Andrew Wiggins wants the ball, show me why you deserve the ball. I don't believe he averaged more than 20 points this year. I think he averaged like around 16 or 17. So why in God's name would he believe he should be the first option? It doesn't make any sense. He's not a better scorer than Jimmy Butler, and he's nowhere close to a better defender. So who would give him the ball? He hit a game winner. Oh my God, everyone goes crazy. No, he has to perform consistently. On a consistent basis, he has to perform. He has to show his team why he deserves the ball. You can't go complaining in the locker room, complaining to other staff members, hey, I'm not getting the ball as much. Prove why you deserve the ball. LeBron doesn't complain about not getting the ball. He gets the ball because he gets the job done.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. All right, Kawhi watch. Let's dive into that. Now that I don't know, it's kind of weird that all this has happened, and with all the fireworks that have sparked at this point prior to 4th of July in the NBA, Kawhi's still sitting in San Antonio. It's kind of strange.
I mean, he can't really do anything.
Kind of in a sense, it's kind of in a sense awkward. Like I can imagine Pop and Kawhi just sitting in a room, and then Kawhi's looking around at TVs of all these reports. LeBron's going here, Boogie's going there. There's Jimmy Butler doesn't want to be here, and then Kawhi's just sitting there like, why am I still here?
He can't do anything really until next summer. I mean, they said they're not willing to trade him unless it's a team in the East. So, like, what can he do?
Which makes 100% sense if you're Pop, because this guy clearly doesn't want to play for you. It tears me apart that if he just gets out there and plays and just, dude, you're getting $20 million and you played what, 6 games or whatever, just go out there and do what you need to do. That team can compete. They showed you it the last time he actually played back in 2 years ago against the KD Warriors when they were blowing him out by, I think it was 23 at the point that he was taken out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing that bugs me the most is, and especially from an NBA fan's perspective, you want as many competing teams as you can. You don't want one team running the league because that's what's, as long as they can maintain that team financially speaking, that's what's going to happen. So that's what bugs me the most about all this is that San Antonio team can compete.
All right, but
Aldridge was explosive last year.
That's
explosive.
True. That's
Even
true.
In the elimination game, it was amazing the numbers he put up. In an elimination game, when you are done.
But look at it like this: if you're in Kawhi Leonard's shoes, even like let's just say you're a regular person on your high school basketball team, your college basketball team, you get injured, you're injured, you feel you've been, misdiagnosed, they want you to come and practice, but you're still hurt. So, you go seek outside options, they tell you you're still hurt. And one of your teammates starts to talk to, let's say, your other friends or other staff members, your coach, your other coaches, and he says, my injury was worse. He goes around saying his injury was worse. How would that make you feel?
Yeah, but at that point, it was like months after damn near every doctor, on the planet cleared you to play. You got at that point, someone needs to call you out, and you got to be like, dude, what's going on now? Like, we are at the point where we're on the verge of the playoffs. We need to put together a run. It's pretty widely known around the league that if we don't have you, we're not going anywhere. It's like we're busting our tails, and what are you sitting out for?
But
every doctor said you're good to go.
I went to the hospital that Kawhi was at. Great hospital. It's amazing. It's beautiful in there.
Which one?
Mount Sinai West. Up in
New York.
Yeah, up in New York, Hell's Kitchen. I went there. It was very nice. You have to understand that these guys know what they're doing. They get paid big bucks for a reason. So if he says he's hurt, there's some credibility there. So for Tony Parker to say what he said.
Yeah, but you don't think a doctor knows more than you?
Okay, but that's why you look for outside opinions for that very reason. One doctor says this, another doctor says that. Yeah, but he had
several. That's the thing that I don't get. He had several doctors clear him to play.
But I believe,
and we're talking about the San Antonio Spurs, who have probably the best medical staff of any sports team on this planet. I don't get it. The whole fit it completely changes the way I look at Kawhi, and not for the better. That's what bugs me. Because Kawhi was a guy that I loved. He shut up. He went about his business. He never said a word. You got the thing where he's driving this old-ass car. He's all humble, this and that. And then it's like he completely flips the script and becomes this. And it's like, dude, like, come on.
Well, you have to understand.
You got to understand the position you're putting Pop in as well. Like, this is a San Antonio dynasty that you are single-handedly ending. You're ending it.
But like
I don't know when the next time the Spurs are gonna compete, which is why I was a big advocate for LeBron going to San Antonio. Not saying I blame his decision to go to LA or whatever, but that's just a team that me personally I love seeing compete. And I'm not a fan of the Spurs. I just love seeing them play. Like every year, they are in conversation, even if they're not the favorites to win it. It's kind of like the Patriots. They are essentially the Patriots of the NBA. Every year, they're there, and any given year, they can win it.
I mean,
and to end that, it hurts.
Like we said in the beginning, it's business. Loyalty does come in effect, but it's a business. But when you have players like Tony Parker say what he said, saying his injury was worse than mine, it's a slap in the face. I'm the franchise player now. Me, Kawhi Leonard. I'm the franchise player.
Yeah, but you don't think it was also a slap in the face for Kawhi to not play? Think about it. How long do we have to wait? Because we are paying you $20 million. This isn't like the situation of Gordon Hayward in Boston where he's getting paid $20 million and he can't play.
Yeah, but that's $16 million less than he deserves.
You are getting way more time than you should be for your injury.
First of all, he should be getting paid around $36 million, $40 million a year. But
when you sign a contract, you sign a contract. It's like it's like saying if Gordon Hayward has a career year next year and he goes, you know what, Boston, I should be making more than this. Like, dude, you signed the contract. You're gonna get your payday, but give me a reason to give it to you other than what you've done in the past. Like, if anything, you're telling me you're giving me reason not to pay you right now.
I mean, then you not paying him, that's him leaving, and that's where we're at now. Tony Parker.
Yeah, but
regardless,
you need to play for you signed the contract right there. You need to play then and there, and then you can discuss negotiations for the future.
Tony Parker has to understand.
We're talking about Pop. This is the thing that bugs me. It's Pop, the greatest coach in the history of the game. Flawless, flawless as far as his character goes.
But look at it like this: you said flawless as far as his character goes. Popovich didn't say anything. He didn't speak on Kawhi's matter, but the person who did was Tony Parker. Tony Parker is a teammate. He's not upper management. He's not Kawhi Leonard's coach. He is a teammate.
Kawhi was refusing to communicate with Pop. There's this whole thing about Kawhi's uncle. I don't know what the hell his uncle has to do with any of this, and talking about he needs to get his money, this and that. Dude, you have nothing to do with this. You are an uncle, okay? Your voice is because of him. Nobody knows who the hell you are.
That may be true, but
So shut up.
That may be true, but you have to understand with everything Kawhi Leonard went through in his life with his dad being murdered. He only has so much family that he can really communicate to, with. He doesn't talk as much.
But there's stories like that around the league. Like in basketball, probably more than other sports. You got Jimmy Butler with the whole his mom dumped him out in the streets. LeBron with his poverty, and you saw LeBron in one of the games where his mom tried to I don't know if you definitely remember the game where she tried to come at KG or something. And LeBron's like, sit down, this and that. You got to know when to tell your family members this is me and them. You have nothing to do with this. Just sit down, stay away, and shut up.
I mean, for the exact same reason that all of these NBA players go broke, they don't know how to say no. They don't know how to, they don't know how to establish boundaries. They don't know how to differentiate the two, business and your social life. So this is what you get. This is what you get. But I still don't believe Tony Parker had any right to say what he said. That's just me personally. I think if I was Kawhi Leonard, I would have talked to Tony Parker after, and if it wasn't a fight that happened after, then I would have just left. I don't know how else to handle it.
Why not talk to Pop? That's the thing. Why is Pop being the oddball here where he's taking so much shit? I don't get it.
We already know Popovich.
Pop can't control what Parker says.
100%.
Parker said
he can't control.
Parker wants to come out and say something. He can't control that.
But you have to he can be reprimanded. He can be told, hey, that's not the way you handle things. But
we don't know what goes on inside there. Yeah, from Pop's perspective, you can't just go, well, Tony, I'm going to suspend you. Because if you're Pop, any lick of talent you get, you got to play.
Okay, but like you just said, we don't know what goes on there. If we don't know what goes on there, why are we so ready to take Popovich's side? Just because he's one of the greatest coaches of all time? That's
because
why
of his history.
But we don't know what goes on.
Because we're going based off what we know from Kawhi.
We don't know much about Kawhi. The guy doesn't talk.
We know every doctor's cleared him.
But once again, medicine is something that, you get as close as you can to the truth, but you cannot tell somebody what's wrong with their body. You can be close. You can get real close, but you can't.
You can say there's maybe some discomfort, or yourself are scared of re-injuring, but the fact of the matter remains that your body is perfectly fine to play.
I mean, it was something that I don't believe could have been measured. I don't know if they used ultrasound. I don't know what they did. I don't know if they used, one of those devices. They throw him in there. They scanned him. I don't know, but
and not just the thing that makes matters worse is not just are you essentially being a crybaby over there? You're putting Pop in a bad position to trade you. Kyrie Irving had his issues in Cleveland, but he didn't put Cleveland in a position where it was tough to trade him. I don't recall Boston being on the list, of teams that Kyrie was willing to come to. But he still put him in position to where, Cleveland was able to get the best available package at the time. Pop can't do that. If you're any other organization in the league, you can't go get a guy who practically committed to LA. You can't take that chance while giving up any valuable asset whatsoever. That's why when there was the whole, Kawhi link to Boston, I wasn't in on it. I get it. Kawhi is a, top 5 player in basketball today, but you can't take the chance of the guy just completely fleeing on you right after.
We already had this discussion before. We know, Kawhi is a lot better than Kyrie Irving, and I think that's the reason why, Pop is so scared to trade Kawhi to any team in the West. The Spurs don't want to play Kawhi Leonard. Like, no one would want to play Kawhi Leonard. He doesn't have a player option, and they're screaming, "Thank God." So what can Kawhi do?
Cleveland should have been more aggressive, at a possible Kawhi trade.
They don't really have much to offer. They don't have much to offer.
Give up K-Love, maybe. Give up.
Jeff Green's gone.
At 8?
I think they were 5th. They got Colin Sexton around 5th. No,
they got him at 8. Whatever the heck they were. I just think they should have been more aggressive because I think Kawhi and LeBron would work. And then, all right, so think about it like this. You trade K-Love, right?
Mm-hmm.
And whatever the heck that pick was, whether it was 5, whether it was 8, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You take that. That's a pretty good package for San Antonio. K-Love, they get to pick whatever prospect they want in the draft. You have that. You got those two, and you got LaMarcus Aldridge. You still got Patty Mills. You got Parker. And then if you're Cleveland, that's a pretty, enticing argument to getting Boogie Cousins in. Because clearly Boogie, financially speaking, didn't give a rat's ass what he took. So, financials, that wouldn't have been a problem. So imagine that. You got Kawhi, you got Boogie, and you got LeBron. I don't care what else you have. You're good. You are good if you got those 3, especially in the East.
That's
so
true.
I don't know. I thought they should have been more aggressive.
But what exactly?
I'm not saying like I'm mad at them for not getting him. It's just, I thought they should have put somewhat effort. But I guess LeBron had his mind set and done. But I don't know. I still think Cleveland had a shot and they were willing to listen. But Colin Sexton alone, yeah. Who is that persuading? Like Shabazz Napier in Miami. That's not good enough.
Colin Sexton at 8 was it was a great pick for Cleveland.
No, he's a great pick, and I think he's one of the more undervalued guys going into the draft. But that, I don't even think LeBron even knows that they took Colin Sexton.
No, I think if you take Michael Porter, that might have turned some heads. That would have been a lot better. I don't know why in God's name the Knicks took Kevin Knox at 9th.
Yeah, I'm going to say this right now. A lot of teams are going to regret not taking Porter.
Yeah,
it is going to come back to bite them in the behind in the future. You're going to see it.
Like Wendell Carter, I know he was a big name in college, overshadowed by Bagley. But really, he's like He doesn't match. He doesn't exceed.
He fell what? 14 to he fell 14 to Denver, right? It was the 14th pick.
Who? Wendell?
No. Porter.
Porter, yeah, it was 14th.
Yeah, 14th to Denver. Yeah, there were a lot of guys. Jerome Robinson from BC that was taken by the Clippers, who I like, but Porter's gonna be a better player than Jerome Robinson.
Well, I would.
Trae Young. I don't care what Trae Young did in college. He's not the next Steph Curry. Can we throw those comparisons out the window right now, please, before my head blows?
He is playing
He's not going to be Michael Porter. Porter's going to be a better player than him. I like Sexton. Again, like I said, I think he was an undervalued player coming into the draft. But I think Porter Jr. is going to be the better player.
Yeah, I am not sold on Kevin Knox in the slightest. I don't see why he was a top 10 pick. Not sold on him. Can't really see him doing anything special. Really don't even understand why Grayson Allen was chosen by the Utah Jazz if they said that he's here to score.
What was Grayson Allen? Was he like 24 or something?
He was 21st.
21st.
Yep. Crazy. Don't know why they picked him. Really, no, I can't see him offering scoring as anything really over there.
I mean, he's a decent three-point shooter. His best year was his sophomore year, which I tell people, every time I'm debating the whole Grayson Allen thing, that really killed him. Being a 4-year guy out of college isn't the most attractive thing. We saw it with Buddy Hield, and where's Buddy Hield right now? Is he making any noise?
Plus his whole
so that's the thing
incident
that kills you. Coming out of college, the 4-year thing isn't very attractive, regardless of who you are, or what numbers you put up. And again, his sophomore year was his best year by far.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah. Any other points you want to address before we wrap this up?
I think that's it.
Think we're good?
I think we're good.
All right. So this is going to be a weekly thing. Tune in next week for our next segment of the Sideline Views podcast. All right? All right. Have a good week.